Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Homebrew Buffoonery. So yesterday was September the 1st, today is September the 2nd obviously because that was yesterday, and I did a Belgian Pale Ale and a bit of a disaster with my pump and a few other things, and it was a hell of a mess, and I ended up recirculating with 2 jugs. But what I did last night is I went onto Brewer's Friend, onto the forum there, and I asked about my pump issue, and I got some advice back today, and I had a bit of a play this morning with the setup of the pump, and I think I may have got it just right, but there's just a couple of issues, a couple of tiny little issues, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto a right posh homebrew store in the UK and get some little fittings and fastenings and a bit of proper silicone tubing and another ball valve as well. Try and do it as cheaply as possible, and get this little setup running. That should make a huge difference to the quality of the work. Because I was really pleased with how the Belgian Pale Ale finished last night, and it's under stairs in that there brewery, bubbling away like a good one. So today I am doing another beer for a friend. And I'm doing an Oatmeal Stout, and it's called Odinson's, Twinkle's Odinson's Stout, because I'm Twinkles, and my friend I often call Odinson because he's quite marvellous, godly kind of fella. And so I've been onto Brewer's Friend, and I've typed in all the ingredients and all the nonsense, and there's a bit in the recipe where it gives you a comparison with the brewing judges guidelines on the style of the beer, and it gives you, there's 10 different things that you can have a look at to make it that style of beer. Now, I don't know whether you can see there, but as you can see, all 10 of the things I need are ticked, and that is the colour it should look like when it's finished. So the grain bill for this one is quite a bit different than what I usually get. And I've got it over there. I've got mostly Marisotto. There's 900 grams of Marisotto there. But then in this other little bucket, I've got 3 different types of grains of different colours. And in my little box there. So what I've got for the oatmeal, obviously that's just flaked oats. So there's 150 grams of flaked oats there. And there's no colour to those at all. So here I've got some red crystal malt, and the colour index on that is 330 colour units, whatever that is. And then I've got some pale chocolate malt, which is 450 on the colour scale chart thing. And so I've got 150 grams of all 3 of those and put them in, and that's going to be my mash. So what I've got here is my hops. It's Challenger hops, 7.5% alpha acids, and it's leaf hops, and it's been freeze packed and airtight packed into this bag. And the only amount I need for the whole brew is 1 addition at 30 minutes of 10 grams to meet the style guidelines of an oatmeal stout according to those judges. And my yeast for this one, this is also style specific apparently, according to the bloke in the homebrew shop. This is a Munton's yeast, and it's GV12, a GV12 ale yeast, formulated to produce exceptional results with rapid fermentation for most beer types. And that's basically what it looks like. I don't think there's anything special about it, but the bloke at homebrew shop said that's the one I want if I wanted a stout. So that'll go into my demi-john when it's all done, all 11 grams of it, and upstairs off we go. So water's ready. And just got my bag to put in, and let's get mashing in. Okay, so there's the bowl of Marisotto. What I've got is my water in there. There's 6.25-ish litres. I've got my little burner on at sort of 6 o'clock-ish, between just 5 o'clock side of 6 o'clock. And the temperature is currently 75, and I'm mashing this time a little bit higher at 68. Because that's what I was told I needed to do. So let's get mashing in. Now remember, I'm recirculating by hand here. So what I'm going to do, like yesterday, is leave my thermometer in, and I'm going to use the thermometer as a way of getting the water back into the wort without disturbing the grain bed, and hopefully we should get a nice clear wort, because we're going to recirculate for a full hour. Got to stand here for a full hour, and hopefully there'll be very little mess. That's the main goal of today. Well, and get some really nice beer. Okay, so that's the maris. That's the 2 rowing. Give that a good mix round. Now there is a little bit more grain in than usual. I usually have a kilo and a quarter, but I've got just over 1,300 grams here now, and so it should be a little bit thicker. There's a really strong smell there. You can really smell the coffee in that pale chocolate malt. Now the one thing I'm worried about is the flaked oats, because that's there to give it a bit of body, a bit of gloopiness. 150 grams, that's a good breakfast porridge serving, so I'm hopeful that it won't get too gloopy. If it does, I'll have to add a little bit more water, I think, but the screen at the bottom should give me a clean 3 litres of wort to recirculate, and I only ever recirculate half a litre at a time, so that's fine. Okay, so that seems to be pretty well mashed in. So far, zero mess, which is good. Okay, let's see where we're at, temperature-wise. So remember, we're looking to mash here at 68 degrees, so I suspect I'm going to have to give the burner a bit of a buzz. Yeah, that's gone down to 64 from 74, so I'll give it a quick buzz up to 68 and then I'll start recirculating. Right, so we're at 68 degrees now, so it's time to start recirculating, and let's have a quick look at the colour of the wort. Okay, so there's the colour of the wort. It's a bit paler than I thought it would be. I'm hopeful that it'll A, get a bit darker, and B, get a bit clearer, because it's now 5:15 in the evening and I'm going to recirculate. I'm going to stand here and recirculate for an hour. So I shall see you at 6:15. So here we are, about 2 minutes left now, and you can see there, because of the thickness of the mash, you can see the quality of the runnings that I'm getting off it. It's very, very slight compared to the brew yesterday, which was fair old coming out. I've got the valve fully open there, and it's not moving out at all quickly. So I've just got another couple of minutes and then I'm going to start my sparge. I don't know whether you can hear that on camera, but it is actually gurgling at me. So I'm not quite sure what that means, but let's put this last bit in and I'm going to run off, do a run-ins, lift my grain out, put it in my colander, do a first run-ins, and do my sparge and recirculate for another 10 minutes. Well, that's the first mess I've made so far. Just a couple of drops on the stovetop. Yay! So the one thing I will note about the recirculation is look at the colour of that. That is lovely and dark. I'm right happy with that. That's stouty coloured, which is exactly what I'm going for. Smells very malty. I hope Odinson likes it. It's going to be dark and yummy. Okay, so we're on the sparge stage now. I've done my first run-ins over there. They're in the sink in the big pan, and I'm just going to put 2 kettles full of water through this, 75-ish, 78-ish degrees. So what I'm going to do is put another kettle full of water through this, and then I'm going to recirculate for another 15 minutes and see what I get out of that, and then add it to the first run-ins and start my boil. Okay, we're coming up to the boil now. I've got my 7.25 litres, that'll give me an hour of a boil, and the Brewer's Friend recipe to keep it in the oatmeal stout style says I need to add 10 grams of Challenger hops at 30 minutes. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm also going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of Wilflock at 15 minutes from the end. So what I thought I'd do just before the boil kicks in is have a look at these hops. So it says Choicest Leaf Hops Challenger 2017 harvest, product of the UK. And it's basically a rock solid brick of them. So that's how they come. Ew. Like that. Smells of hops. Doesn't smell like Citra or Amarillo. It does smell quite a lot different actually. Like more. I don't know how to describe that smell. Hoppy. So what I'm going to do, there's 113 grams there, and I need 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the sharpest knife I've got, and I'm just going to slice an edge off there, and then I'll break it up and put it in a hot bag, and at 30 minutes bung it in the boiling wort. Okay, so a half hour in now. There's my little bag of hops. It's still in a brick. I'm hoping it's going to sort of loosen up as it gets into the water and expand like normal hop pellets do. Still smells weird as well, but you know, 30 minutes, drop her in, let it go. Next thing is 50 minutes from now, it'll be 1/8 of a teaspoon of Wilflock, 15 minutes to the boil, and then I'm going to whirlpool and let her stand for 20 minutes, and then transfer her over into the cooling pan and go from there. Okay, so just whilst it's on the boil, I thought I'd go through the Brew Judge's specifications for an oatmeal stout. It's section 16B, oatmeal stouts, and it says, it's quite a long piece really, the history, a variant of nourishing or invalid stouts of the late 1800s, using oatmeal in the grist, similar to the development of sweet stout that used lactose. Okay. And the original Scottish version used a significant amount of oat malt, and later went through a shady phase where some English brewers would throw in a handful of oats into their party giled stout in order to legally produce a healthy oatmeal stout. These bloody English people, eh? Geez, most popular in England between world wars, and was revived by the craft brewers for export after the war. And it's led to its adoption as a popular modern American craft beer style that uses a noticeable quantity of hops. With a style comparison, most are like a cross between an Irish extra stout and a sweet stout with oatmeal added. Several variations exist. La 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 la. The overall impression of it says is a very dark, full-bodied, roasty malty ale with complementary oatmeal flavour. But I've heard that the oatmeal is more for a mouthfeel kind of thing. It sort of thickens the beer up almost to Guinnessy sort of standards. I'm not expecting anything like that, but you know, apparently that's what the oatmeal does. The aroma, mild roasted grain aromas, generally with a coffee-like character. Well, that's definitely in there because that's coming from the pale chocolate malt. A light malty sweetness can suggest a coffee and cream impression. Fruitiness should be low to medium. Diacetyl medium low to none. So maybe in the tasting I'll be able to finally taste what diacetyl tastes like. I'm saying taste a lot there, aren't I? Because I'm not exactly sure what it is. I know you can get kits to that give you an impression of what each off flavour tastes like, but I'm not sure what it is at all. Appearance, medium brown to black in colour. Well, that's definitely that. And thick, creamy, persistent tan to brown coloured head. Okay. Flavour, coffee and cream, oats, roasted, blah blah blah. So let's have a see. The original gravity should be about 1045. Well, most of my beers are coming in at 1054ish, around there, and then a final gravity between a low point of 1010. So your alcohol is 4.2 or 5 to 5.9%. And there's tons and tons of commercial examples here in the UK, loads of them, they're all over the place. And a friend of mine, he really likes them, so this is who I'm doing it for, and hopefully all those things I've just said will come true and he'll like it, and I'll brew some more because I've got enough for 2 more batches. Okay, so it's 15 minutes from the end of the boil now, and there is my hardly anything of a teaspoon of Whirlfloc. So that's going in there now. See what it does. Bubbled over okay. So there you go, 15 minutes left, and then I'm going to whirlpool it and let it stand. Right, so boil over. Now I've got exactly 5 litres in there, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a quick whirlpool, and then I'm going to leave it with a lid on for 10 minutes or so, let whatever's nonsense is in there settle out, and I'm going to transfer it into my cooling pan, and I'll show you what is left at the bottom of the old mash tun. First off, what I need to do is take the hops out, trying not to burn me. Ugh. Right, okay, so I've got the hops there. They've expanded quite significantly, so there's nothing to worry about with that freeze-dried bag. I just need to find something to put them in now so I don't drip water all over the floor and upset the boss, who's out at Barry Manilow again. Okay, so we're going to whirlpool now, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to spin it round in the middle there. Try and get a vortex going. Well, the issue with this is that there's a bloody bazooka valve in the bottom of the pan. I forgot to take it out, so that's just stopping any movement around the. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. 10 minutes, and then transfer it over into cooling pan. Okay, all that's left now is to put the wort into the pan, and once it's drained in, I'll show you what's at the bottom of the pan. What I will say is that it looks nice and clear. I mean, you're not going to see straight through an oatmeal stout because it's so dark, but well, that looks pretty good actually. Okay, so this is what's left at the bottom of the pan after the boil. There we go. So I'm not sure what that is. That's probably proteins and particles and what have you. But that's what's left, and it's left me with quite a nice wort that I just need to chill down now. So just before we transfer the beer into the fermenter, I've done a gravity test, and on my recipe it came out at 1049. The original gravity, it should be 1049. And looking on my hydrometer there, which is, you can actually see the hydrometer in the wort, which means that it must be clear. That's lovely. It's 1052. So I think the efficiency was 60% for 1049, so I'm slightly above that. So maybe 63%, which is rubbish really, isn't it? I really need to work on getting that a bit higher. But 1052, and then all I need to do now is transfer it into the fermenter and add the yeast. Put her in the stairs for 10 days in that little brewery. Lovely jubbly. Okay, now whilst you can only see me shorts, what I'm doing is I'm trying to move the auto siphon down with the wort to keep it at the same level, because I don't want it to go into the gubbins at the bottom, which I'll show you what's in the pan at the bottom. And there's a definite layer of something rubbish on the bottom. I'm going to be very gentle to lift this pan. Because we don't want to get any of those nasties in there. The wort's still nice and clean. As soon as it starts going cloudy, Oh, by it, that's malty. Right, so let's have a look what's in the fermenter, which is that lovely dark lusciousness of a gallon, just over 4.5 litres of Twinkle's Odin Sun. And let's see what's left after the whirlpool in the bottom of the cooling pan. And you can see there's still quite a few particles left there. So the two whirlpools are doing the job really. They're clearing out a lot of the big stuff. What all it needs to do now is to pitch that yeast, and then hopefully that whatever's left in there, whatever nasties are left in there, will settle out and it'll come and be a nice clear beer. What I am going to do is at the end of the fermentation, I'm going to transfer it to a secondary just to clear out for one extra day. So I can make sure it's absolutely clear, and then I'll siphon it from there. The risk of oxidation, but a bloke at Homebrew Shop said not to worry about it because the beer will still be producing some carbon dioxide, and that should force what oxygen's there out. So I'll take his word for it. But as another session, I think that's a success. It's a nice clear wort. Gravity was more or less as it was. Colour's fine. Yay. So that's another brew session done now. Odin Sun's understairs in that there brewery, getting ready to gurgle away. And all I've got left to do now is clean up the mess and say like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Go and watch Jason on Barley in the Ops TV because he's really, really good. I do like him. But he says like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And, go out and brew something dark.